that there is no straight live stream on the 18th. That looks really weird. They're just coming out of whiteness. That's what life is like. Life is this whole one energy. You could call it like white light, and then out of that everything comes. We always think that everything is independent objects happening separately, and that it is here and then we're experiencing it. Whereas actually it's all made of this, you could call it white light, and out of that white light comes every object, including consciousness. Yeah, so beautiful. Yeah, that's really nice. I am just traveling at the moment. Yeah. So here we go again. There's something else coming out of whiteness. Whiteness is the first, and then everything else appears from that. Conscious. We don't even know what the source of life is. Like, we call it consciousness because that's what we say. But in a way, consciousness is a functioning. Like, everything is appearing out of this thing that we don't know what it is, but we're all it. And you can see it with this light. Like, even my hand begins to disappear in it. Here it comes, and it's in appearance. Woo! Disappeared, and then it appears into existence. It appears. It appears. There comes something else. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so there's nothing that's not this white light, this freedom, this infiniteness. Everything is it. And that's the basis of everything. Your body appears out of that. Your mind appears out of that. This car appears out of that. This drink appears out of that. This amazing ring appears out of that. Everything appears from that. Oh, there's someone next to me. But our mind thinks that there is a world in which I am born into, and I am different from this world. I am separate from this world. Whereas everybody is this world. Everybody is everything. It's all made from the same whiteness, or the same consciousness. Consciousness is more a term because in every experience there is consciousness. So it's more of a pointing back to that mystery of what you are. But it's beautiful to say consciousness because that's the first thing that happens in order for this life to happen. There needs to be consciousness. So the first dynamic that needs to appear, like you could say it's one and the same thing in a way, is that white light needs consciousness, otherwise nothing is happening. So consciousness needs to be right at the base there. It's like has to appear, otherwise nothing appears. I just saw a question arise. It doesn't stay up on my phone for very long, just a few minutes, about what happens with death. And what happens with death is you dissolve back into that white light. Like every part of you comes from that white light and then merges back into it. In fact, that white light is here right now. It is making up all things. So you see how my fingers in this picture are merging back into that. So in death there is a merging to that white light, and that white light is love. Absolute love. Radical love. So you merge back into love. And it might be that there is rest for a while, but at some point there will be consciousness again of things. So it might be non-existence for a while, but in a way non-existence never exists. So there will be experiencing again, but not through this form or your form, because every form that appears is unique. So it will that form will break down and transform into other things, and then there will be a looking through other things. So tasty. Is death of identity the same as death of the body? No and yes. The death of the entity is like the end of the attachment. So there is like a death of that is you. And you can have these waking up experiences where there is like a complete disidentification and like death, like no longer any sense of being a body, no longer any sense of knowing anything. Sorry, my battery came on saying it was going to die soon. Yeah, so there can be complete disidentification with it. But then there comes back the body in order to keep experiencing this life. So whereas physical, so you can have these awakening experiences where you dissolve completely into the white light and there's no body, there's no world, there's nothing happening. There's just this experiencing, but for no one. But then in order to live, there has to be the appearance of things that happen again. So then there is some form of identification with the body, but then there is the contact with that which is so much bigger than you. So the contact with the infinite. So the awakening experience is a complete dissolving of the body, of the world, of everything. And then after that there is this shift. There is this energetic shift that knows that infiniteness is you. It's like a movement from being limited to being expanded. And so it has similarities to physical death, but you come back. You come back from the dead. Like the story of Jesus, that he died on the cross and then was resurrected. Because otherwise you can't experience. So you need a body, you need an object, consciousness needs to attach to an object in order to look through. So in physical death, everything disappears. You go back to that love of what you are, that infiniteness of that wonder, that magic, that unknown of what you are, like this. My fingers are disappearing. And then there will be a looking through a different object. In awakening, there is the going back to that, and then this energetic shift from being limited to being all things. But then there is a part that's still identified with the body, or still attached to the body. Your consciousness is still looking through that body. I think I have to go now. I think my battery's running out, and if I turn my engine on, the mic will go through my car and you won't be able to hear me anymore because the mic in the car is not so good. What do you suggest for PTSD from near-death experience of the body? Hey Laura, thanks for your question. If I get cut off, I'm so sorry. I would recommend going to somebody that specialises in PTSD, and you could do something like rapid eye movement, but somebody that specialises in the trauma of that, to bring down that trauma reactivity level. And then once you've got that down, then there could be like an exploration of going beyond the body. But if you try to do that by yourself, and if you're still having PTSD from it, then you're more than likely re-traumatize yourself again. So I would go to a specialist, work with them, bring down the trauma, and then there can be an exploration of that. Yeah. Could there be an awakening experience or glimpse through music? I think I had, yeah, sure, through music. I used to have awakening experiences through music. It's the same with art. You totally get lost in it. It's like a total merging with it. So beautiful. Yeah, music, art, stories. But yeah, I think I have to go now. The phone is going to die. I can see it already dying. The phone is going to have an awakening experience. But yeah, send you lots of love. And I really enjoyed this. Maybe I do a few more lives this week. I always say that and then don't do them. But yeah, I really enjoyed in this diving in to the mystery of that white light. Yeah, baby. Cheese. But yeah, just wanting to say I wish you everything. I wish you everything. Not one thing, or two things, or three things, but everything. Bye.